Introduction to the Socialist-Based Libertarian-Conservative Framework. This political model attempts to synthesize elements from socialism, emphasizing collective welfare, economic equality, and community-oriented resource distribution, libertarianism, prioritizing individual liberties, minimal government intervention, and free markets where possible, and conservatism, focusing on traditional values, social stability, family structures, and cultural preservation. The result is a socialist-based libertarian-conservative (SLC) framework, where socialism forms the foundational economic structure, but it's tempered by libertarian freedoms and conservative moral anchors to prevent overreach or cultural erosion. The core idea is a society where economic systems prioritize the common good through cooperative ownership, but individuals retain maximal personal freedoms in non-economic spheres, guided by conservative principles to maintain social cohesion. This hybrid aims to address inequality without sacrificing personal autonomy or traditional norms. It's theoretical and would require careful balancing to avoid contradictions, e.g., socialism's collectivism versus libertarianism's individualism. Core principles. The SLC framework rests on 5 interlocking principles. Economic solidarity with market flexibility. Socialism as the base means worker cooperatives, public ownership of key industries, e.g., utilities, healthcare, and universal basic services. However, libertarian elements allow for voluntary free markets in non-essential goods, with minimal regulations. Conservatism ensures these markets respect traditional community values, like favoring local family-owned businesses over multinational corporations. Individual liberty paramount. Libertarianism dominates personal freedoms, free speech, gun ownership, with conservative emphasis on responsible use, drug decriminalization for adults, and privacy rights. Government intervention is limited to protecting against harm to others, aligning with conservative views on self-reliance and moral responsibility. Cultural and moral conservatism. Conservative values guide social policy, promoting traditional family structures, religious freedoms, and national heritage. This tempers socialist collectivism by emphasizing voluntary community bonds, e.g., church-based welfare, over state mandates, while libertarianism prevents coercive enforcement of these values. Decentralized governance. To blend libertarian minimalism with socialist equity, power is devolved to local communities or voluntary associations. Central government handles only national defense and basic redistribution, while conservatives ensure policies preserve cultural continuity. Sustainability and long-term stability. Drawing from all 3, the framework prioritizes environmental stewardship, socialist common good, personal innovation, libertarian, and respect for historical precedents, conservative. Economic model. The economy is structured around socialist cooperatives, but with libertarian incentives and conservative safeguards. Here's a breakdown. Component descriptions: socialist element, libertarian element, conservative element. Ownership and production: key industries, energy, transport, education, are publicly or cooperatively owned. Private enterprise allowed in creative/niche sectors. Collective ownership to reduce inequality. Voluntary participation. No forced collectivization. Preference for family-run or community-based enterprises to preserve traditions. Taxation and redistribution: progressive taxes fund universal healthcare, education, and a basic income, but capped to avoid disincentivizing work. Wealth redistribution for social equity. Low overall tax burden. Opt-out options for certain programs. Taxes support family incentives, e.g., child credits and moral education. Markets and trade: free markets for consumer goods, with regulations only for safety and ethics. Subsidies for essential needs to ensure access. Deregulated trade to foster innovation. Protectionist measures for culturally significant industries, e.g., agriculture. Labor and welfare: worker rights emphasized, with unions as voluntary cooperatives. Welfare is needs-based, but encourages self-sufficiency. Guaranteed minimum living standards. No mandatory union membership, right to work freely. Focus on family support and community charity over state dependency. This model could use tools like voluntary cooperatives inspired by mutualism to bridge socialism and libertarianism, while conservative ethics prevent exploitation. Social and cultural policies. Social policies emphasize conservative stability without libertarian overreach. Family and education. Strong support for traditional families through tax breaks and community programs, conservative. Education is publicly funded, socialist, but allows homeschooling or private options, libertarian. Criminal justice. Focus on rehabilitation and community service, socialist equity, with personal accountability, conservative. Libertarian decriminalization of victimless crimes, e.g., consensual adult activities, reduces state intrusion. Immigration and culture. Controlled borders to preserve national identity, conservative, with pathways for integration that respect individual rights, libertarian. Socialist aspects ensure immigrants access basic services without straining resources. Environment and health. Collective action on climate, socialist, but through incentives rather than mandates, libertarian. Conservative reverence for nature ties into stewardship traditions. Government structure. Federal level, minimalist, handles defense, interstate commerce, and basic socialist redistribution. Elected via proportional representation to ensure diverse voices. Local/regional level, high autonomy for communities to implement SLC principles tailored to local cultures. Voluntary associations, e.g., guilds, churches, handle much of welfare and dispute resolution. Checks and balances. Libertarian veto rights for individuals against overreach, conservative sunset clauses on new laws to prevent radical change, and socialist referendums for major economic decisions. Potential challenges and implementation. Blending these ideologies risks internal tensions. Socialism's equality might clash with libertarian freedoms, while conservatism could stifle innovation. To mitigate, start with pilot communities, e.g., intentional cooperatives. Use technology for transparent governance, e.g., blockchain for redistribution. Emphasize education in hybrid values to build consensus. This model is aspirational and draws from real-world examples like Nordic social democracy, socialist conservative lean, or libertarian experiments in places like New Hampshire, adapted to fit the query. It could evolve based on practical application.